Buonasera a tutte e a tutti, grazie per essere qui con noi in questo appuntamento di avvicinamento a 3070 DocFest. Oggi qui con noi abbiamo Luka Papić, regista di Without, uno dei film che fanno parte del concorso internazionale di 3070 DocFest, l'unico boutique festival dedicato a mediometraggi documentari di registi tra i under 35 in anteprima italiana. E siamo molto contenti di avere Luka Papić, un film che abbiamo Without, che abbiamo amato moltissimo. L'intervista verrà condotta in inglese. Welcome Luka. You're muted. Be sure to mute.
Sorry,
Okay.
sorry. Hi.
Don't worry. So, how are you? Where are you now?
Well, at the moment I'm in Belgrade in the studio. I'm finishing the sound design with my crew for the next film. We have a premiere approaching soon, so that's the reason why I couldn't be in Italy at the moment.
Okay, and I was curious about if you, and also the audience could be interested about the genesis of the film, how the film born into your mind, and if you could explain a bit of the process that brought you to shoot Without.
Okay,
me,
connection
Luka?
is interrupting a bit, but I think I understood the question. Now I hear you again, but okay, I should say a bit about the genesis. Actually, I had a couple of ideas for docu-fiction films. One of them was about, so to say, about a not so talented painter, maybe someone who started painting in jail or something like that, and who is obsessed by these unfinished churches around Serbia. And then I had an idea about a film about someone whose dog disappears, and from that moment that person is the only person in the world without a dog in some form. And I wanted to do something with Alexander Danic, who is my friend, since I have met him maybe like 10 years ago or so, because I found him to be like a super interesting character and possibly a super good amateur actor. And then I decided to combine all three ideas into one, so that the film is not about a non-talented painter, so that the film is about a talented painter, actually, talented in a weird way, who loses his dog. Then I wrote the script. It was very structured, like a script for, so to say, a fiction film, and started shooting it.
And could you introduce a bit about what Without is about? Because you mentioned these three these three things. That I think your connection is not working so well. Do you hear me now, Luka?
Oh wait,
yeah.
I hear you now. Sorry,
okay.
There was an interruption.
So, yeah, there's these three things that you put together, but could you a bit elaborate on what we're going to see in Without? Mi sa che la connessione non funziona tanto bene. Ok,
sorry.
Forse lui.
Maybe I can try to connect to a different network. Sorry. I can try quickly to hotspot myself or something, because maybe the Wi-Fi. Just a second.
Mentre aspettiamo Luka, vi ricordo che domani inizierà 3070 DocFest con un'anteprima mondiale del film di Rovellini, Simone Rovellini, 13 sigarette con Giova, un film girato in 4 giorni all'interno della comunità giovanile di Conegliano. Il festival poi proseguirà nei giorni successivi aprendosi col concorso internazionale. Primo film del concorso internazionale che vedremo sarà un film dall'India, Bela di Prantik Basu, un film che ci farà immergere all'interno dei colori e anche della mistica di una città dell'entroterra indiano, un film di un nuovo giovane regista che abbiamo avuto già modo di conoscere molto bene a Lago Film Fest quest'estate all'interno della retrospettiva sul cinema indiano curata da Payal Kapadia, e la proiezione delle 21 invece di domani sera sarà dedicata a un doppio film, Dor di Yannis Callens col regista in sala e Sum di Alice Brigot. Un film invece sugli squat parigini e su 3 ragazzi tra passato, presente e futuro. Adesso vediamo Luca se è riuscito a riconnettere. Luca, do you hear me well?
Okay, now yes, now I hear you perfectly. Sorry.
Great. Just to recap, you mentioned these 3 things that you put together in the film. Could you a bit introduce what we are going to see in the film?
Yes, well, I mean, this film is, so to say, it's a docu-fiction. It's what is popular to say these days, a hybrid movie, something between fiction and documentary. So you will see, so to say, authentic characters and authentic places in staged scenes, in a way. So some of the stuff you will see is completely authentic, and some of it is, so to say, imaginary, but I think you can feel what's right.
And I was also interested in how do you work in the phase of editing, because also the editing is very important in the movie, because in a way we like are immersed in the film and in the context of the film. So I was curious, did you work alone? Did you work with someone else? And what was your idea, and also your references working on this film?
Yeah, so well, also the editing process, it was like, so to say, a long run, because at first I have edited the first cut, which resembled the pre-written script a lot. Then my producer and co-writer Sredja and I edited another version which made more sense, and then realized what was missing in the film. So we have deleted some characters and put in some new characters, and then did some reshootings. And then in the end, with editor Jelena Maksimovic, we have somehow managed to put it all together so that every single cut makes some sense for us, and that everything fits. Some parts were flipped in the end. Yeah, and the references, I mean, one of the references for the editing, I mean, it sounds strange, but it was the way that John Carpenter's films are kind of structured. And Will Friedkin, you know, like, so to say, strange references for something like that, but the idea was that the tempo is not slow. I mean, neither fast or slow, but once it starts going on, that it just goes on and on forward without, so to say, stopping or going back. So I think that's one of the reasons why it seems immersive. Maybe once you start watching it, constantly something is happening.
And also you mentioned that you cannot come here to the festival because you're in the phase of editing with another project. Could you tell us something about what are the next project in your life, in your career, and what are you working on?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, this project is in the final phase of post-production. So editing is done now. We're finishing the color grading and doing some final touches on sound, and the premiere, it will be soon, but I can't tell where still. But it's a film about the first multi-party elections in Serbia, which happened in 1990s, and it's a moment when after, so to say, 45 years of communist regime, Serbian, I mean, a country started into transition into democratic society. So people had no idea about what is democracy and what is capitalism, etc., and what are they diving into. But they did want to dive into it because of their egos and characters. So it's kind of a ready-made comedy. So it's more a documentary than Without, but still it might seem like a mockumentary or something like that, because the archive material is like it's took from a Monty Python episode, and the characters that we are filming seem surreal. So that's it. Yeah, this story about the first multi-party election, we are telling the narrative through perspective of 4 outsider presidential candidates from 1990s. So it's funny and scary.
And
I hope.
And also humor is a big part of your work, as we will see in Without. There's a lot of humor, and also a very subtle kind of one. And you tell us that this new project is also kind of comic, and I was curious for you if the comedy side of a project comes first or later. You find a story and you're trying to find the comic side of it, or maybe you find this thing and for you it's obvious that it's comic from the first moment on.
Yeah, for me it's I think it's obvious from the first moment on, because I'm really interested in comedy. It's what actually interests me, and then later what comes is how to balance the humor with other sentiments, not to make it into like not to make it too banal, or somehow to hide the humor, to make it tickle you from the inside, but also sometimes to make you really laugh. And sometimes like I'm interested in this docu-fiction in the sense that you're not always sure like what is staged and what not, and I also like that ambivalence with humor, that you're not sure like was it a joke or is it funny or not, but maybe it tickles you. So but it comes in the start. At the beginning I'm into making comedies. I mean, not always comedies, but these 2 films are supposed to be some kind of comedies.
And thank you so much, Luka, for your time, for being with us.
No, thank you for having me, and I'm sorry again for not having me physically present.
No, it will be for the next time, for your future project. Anytime you want to come to our festival, you're more than welcome. Grazie mille Luca per essere stato qui con noi. Vi ricordo che la proiezione di Without di Luka Papić in Anteprima nazionale al Multisala Verdi sarà domenica 23 alle ore 19. Io vi do appuntamento domani mattina alle 11:30 con l'intervista di Prantik Basu per il film Bela, e vi auguro una buona serata.
Pre 2 nedelje sam izgubio posao u magazinu, zato što ne znam da računam. I obradovao sam se jer kao mogu da slikam, konačno imaću vremena, a onda sam juče izgubio psa.
A ljudi obično prave grešku kada se psi izgube, jer krenu nasumično da ih traže svuda okolo. Psi naprave uglavnom ogroman krug i vrate se na mesto odakle su pobegli. A vlasnici zabavljuju ko zna gde okolo.